Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, we're going to be diving back into the 4-year cycles and analyzing how we can actually know when the cycle top is going to be, not just through the time frames that we normally talk about, but actually the emotional psychology inside of a market cycle. The emotional psychology of a market cycle is arguably one of the most important parts of my entire investing thesis on why I do certain things inside of the market, but most importantly, how to analyze when to take profits and when to enter back into a market. And so we're going to be taking a look at this, analyzing how it stacks up with Bitcoin, basically taking a look at some of the things that we're going to see when it comes to the end of the year cycle, and how to truly know if these are opportunities where we can be selling into so that we don't get stuck in the cycle and then in turn lose all of our money in the bear market. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Always remember to click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys sign up and join the Discord server of over 21,000 members and growing. Links are going to be provided for you in the description for the people that want to join my community. On top of that, if you guys are looking for extra educational content, you guys can also download my free ebook. Links are going to be provided for you in the description for that free little study guide that I know is going to help you guys out tremendously. So check it out. Links are provided for you in the description. And with that being said, guys, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, so here we are taking a look at the chart of Bitcoin, and over the last few days, we've definitely had a lot more panic inside of the market, and I talked about that in my last video. Just having any sort of red day inside of the market really puts people, on the edge of their seat. They're really worried about their profits being evaporated, especially because they still have a lot of PTSD from the last correction that we just saw. Now, a lot of people have been sharing a lot more bearish stuff on Twitter. They've been talking with a lot more, anxiety as a whole. But at the end of the day, guys, I don't really care so much about the shorter time frame. You guys understand that. And the big reason why is because I believe that every one of these corrections is just going to ultimately add a new higher high as we continue to trend up. Because we're at this point in the cycle where we are so late. We're coming right up on November. At the end of November, that's when I'm really going to be looking at taking profits inside these markets, analyzing what the actual market looks like at that point so I can start making decisions on doing that. And the thing about it is, with us only being a month away, I think a lot of people are expecting some slow buildup just because of how long it took to get to this point. And I think that that's just not what's going to happen. We're going to see these dips get bought up quickly. We're going to see these things take off tremendously fast, a lot faster than most people are expecting. And it's at that point where we're going to actually be able to make the most money for ourselves. And we've actually seen all of the early signs of this. And it always works out this way where, most people are still really doubting on an asset. And then that's obviously the greatest time to get in. All of my buys that I took from averaging back down into different altcoins throughout this entire corrective period, they're all up tremendously. And so it's a great opportunity to get back into the market when you can actually, get past your emotions and understand that's actually what's prohibiting you from making money. Because here's the thing, guys, when you're in these points of the trend where the market's going down, the emotional psychology of how these things work, when you analyze it from that basis, you're going to feel very emotional. You're going to feel, tied to your money. You're going to be attached to that emotionally because you want a positive outcome. Otherwise, you wouldn't put money in the market, right? Nobody wants to actually lose their money. And when you have this emotional attachment to it, it's at those times when you saw what you had all the way up here or even all the way back down here at the beginning of the cycle. And at the end of every major correction that we saw, whether it was March of 2020 or whether it was just recently here in mid-July, both of these periods are going to be really trying emotionally. You're going to get tested by the market. You're going to see what you once had in unrealized gains evaporate as you get a big correction. And that emotional attachment is what's going to cost you profit because you're going to get down here and it always seems to happen right right at the worst opportunity for you to do so, because I've been through there. I know exactly what it's like to panic sell bottoms, not take any profits on the way up, only for the entire thing to come crashing back down below where I bought it. So I know exactly how all of that feels, and it sucks in the moment. And here's the thing, it's all because of your emotions that are getting you attached to those certain outcomes. And we saw it right here just recently. We saw a lot of bearish stuff calling for, sub 20K Bitcoin levels at the very bottom here, even though we were bouncing off of a major support level. And obviously we've never actually retested previous all-time highs. And so on the emotional side of things, you can kind of convince yourself to act irrationally, make irrational decisions just because you're scared, just because you're anxious for whatever reason, your portfolio's going down and whatnot. And so it's those times where we want to make sure that we're not doing that. Now, here's the thing, guys. We're at this point in the market where this is the opposite emotions. Now we're experiencing greed. Now we're seeing the market actually taking off, about to flip all-time highs and go into price discovery. When this happens, we're going to see all kinds of a different emotion. And where I believe that we actually are when we do take the time to come over here and look at the Wall Street cheat sheet, analyze the fear and greed index, and basically what that talks about is simply just when we start to make the first parabolic push, the four emotions that you're actually going to see are optimism, belief, thrill, and euphoria. This is what you're going to see when the market takes off once we go into new all-time highs. Where I believe we are is exiting the hope phase. We're kind of like right here at the very edge before we get that final parabolic push. Inside of that, that's when you're going to see retail get fully invested into this. They're going to see it taking off quickly. They're going to feel like if they were waiting on the sidelines to buy, they're going to just go full all in at this point. People that have been buying throughout this period, usually they get way more optimistic. And that's exactly what you're going to see is them get even more fully invested. This is where you're going to see a lot of leverage taken out, and they're going to be profiting off of their leverage because the market's just going vertical. But this is where people set themselves up for failure, right? Now we're on the opposite end, right? This was before, when people didn't actually believe that the market was going to take off. We saw the depression of it when everybody was angry, when everybody was calling for 10K Bitcoin. That's what we just went through. And now we're kind of in this phase where we're leaving disbelief because we're already back up here at the all-time highs. I believe right now that we're at the edge of hope, and we're going to actually see this play out over the next couple months. Really the next month and a half. 2 months tops, in my opinion, because I'm going to be out at the market. And so whenever we see this stuff, we have to understand, what does that actually look like? Because most of you guys haven't been around here for a full Bitcoin cycle. Now, one of the things I want to talk about quickly is how I can prove to you guys that the bottom is actually in. And if we just analyze the volume, we can see that this has been a very accurate indicator thus far. Volume is such a great tool to use inside of a market cycle because a major breakout in volume can tell a lot in the grand scheme of where we're actually at. If we see over here March of 2020, look at this massive amount of volume that came in here. And it came in here right at the major low. There's a lot of money that came in here to buy this dip. Now what we can also see is right here, we get the next major breakout of volume. Even right here can consider one, and this was when we first flipped the all-time highs. But for the most part, I'm trying to show you guys the bottom, so we're not going to talk about that. So right here, we have another major breakout, and this comes at the first major correction inside of this sell-off. I actually accumulated a lot inside of this dip and then held throughout this entire period of chop throughout this period of time. And you can see that that was actually right when the most amount of money came into it, right on the initial sell-off, right? And so we can see here that each time we got the breakout in volume, we start uptrending and accumulating, and then we get one major move onto the upside of a really big parabolic push. And we can kind of see the same thing playing out. Breakout volume, this is what precedes the short-term uptrend, and then you would consider this the accumulation, kind of like what we saw here. And then we actually break out and go parabolic. I think that that's where we're at today. And so this is what I expect to play out over the next month and a half, 2 months tops, like I said. This is what I think is going to be playing out in a big way. And now the big thing comes into, how do we actually understand what that's going to look like emotionally? Because here's the thing, guys. It's really easy to pull up the Wall Street cheat sheet and say, hey, this is where we're at. This is the type of emotion you're going to feel. But if you've never actually been through one of these, by experiencing all of these emotions displayed on the chart, you're not really going to have a full picture. And that's why your emotions are going to get in the way of just about everything inside of your analysis, because you're going to get greedy. When this thing starts going up substantially, once you're making money off of everything, you're going to think to yourself, man, if I just leave this in here and I get another 1x, a 3x, a 5x, or even you say like 10x or something crazy, you're going to sit there and think to yourself all of this stuff, and it's ultimately going to keep you trapped into the next bear market, right? Because we know we're going to get a parabolic push to close out the end of this year. Historically, it's happened over the last 10 years. We're betting on a trend that's played out significantly in years past, and so thus far, it's not playing out any differently. We're seeing roughly the exact same thing play out once again. And in this time, I think that we're better off simply taking the profits that we're going to get, over the next couple months. And at that point, being prepared for the worst, because at this point we're going to see a lot of regulation stepping into the market. We've already heard a lot of regulation rumors, and I expected regulation to come out significantly inside of the next bear market. That's when we're going to see a lot of hype die out. We're going to see sectors being killed off because they can't actually keep up with changing regulations. We're going to see crackdowns on probably a number of these different cryptos because it happens every single cycle. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is simply take profits at the end of the year, because then you're not holding into all of that, unknowingness. And it's that unknowingness that ultimately breeds a lot of insecurity inside the market. Not so much personal insecurity. You might be confident going into it initially because of, the fact that you might have held from really early in the last bear market. But I'm telling you, you're going to make way more money simply selling at the top, relatively close, doesn't have to be the exact one, and then holding until the very cycle low, the beginning of 2023, the end of 2022 type of time frames. And once you can get back in, once you see the market's down 80%, 70% plus, from those points you could start averaging back in. But even then, guys, I would stick to averaging into like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe like a couple others. And then when you start investing into some of the other ones, I would simply wait until a bottom looks to be printed, markets start looking like they're, going to uptrend well, and then you kind of figure out what ones are still kind of around after everything, what ones have adapted, doing your own research. All of this stuff plays into how we actually analyze the market, not only from an emotional level. We're going to see all of the negative emotions on the way back down, exactly as that chart shows. We're going to see it on a big picture, kind of like what we saw here with the 2018 bear market. This thing was brutal because mainly the fact we chopped in this exact same area on this 5,800 floor in this triangle for almost a year straight before crashing, another 50% on the downside. And so this thing was, I watched the entire thing from the very beginning of this trend all the way to the end, and, I'm still watching it. And so we're going to see another one of these things. And I'm telling you guys, as somebody who went through that last one, you just don't want to be holding through it. You want to avoid crypto. You want to go into other markets. I did open a TD Ameritrade account just simply for the fun that I can trade other markets, and not just for fun basis, but mainly just because I'm trying to get out of crypto and make money elsewhere. If you've made a lot of money in these markets, the best thing that you can do is diversify. I remember thinking to myself back here in 2018 that, hey, I should get some profits out of crypto and put it into the stock of Tesla. And if I would have done that, I would have made a ton of money long term. And it's all just because I simply would have diversified a little bit better. This is the cycle where I've really kind of learned from my mistakes. I'm trying to teach you guys the same thing so that you guys don't have to make those same, mistakes long term. So with Bitcoin, guys, I think there's enough analysis to point that we're going to see another one of these major moves on the upside. The emotional psychology of it, I do believe that we're entering hope. And this is kind of the point where we're just going to see a lot of euphoria stepping into the market. And one of the ways that I think that we can wrap up by talking about how to actually identify this happening is going to be, inside of euphoria, inside of optimism, belief, thrill, all of those emotions, you're going to see some crazy things taking off. And in my opinion, we've already seen that. One of the things I did want to talk about was actually Shiba Inu. Now, Shiba Inu is one that I didn't buy early on or anything. I knew some people that did, but I actually did post a signal for this somewhere down here, roughly where this crosshair is at in this low. We actually bought some down here, and so we made quite a bit of money inside of the signals. This was just simply one that I knew was accumulated for a long time, and I knew where we're at in the cycle. We're starting to see some crazy things take off, and a lot of people doubted Shiba Inu. I doubted Shiba Inu, but then all of a sudden when it just started looking phenomenally good, I ignore my biases, and I just jump into whatever looks good based off of a chart principle, right? And we're at the point of the cycle where we're seeing stuff like this taking off. Now, am I angry? Am I, upset that I didn't get in? No, I'm not actually, because this happens every cycle. I'm telling you, you're going to miss out. You're going to buy some of this stuff. It's going to go crazy. You're going to make a lot of money off of it. And then a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money off of it. At the end of the day, I'm not angry if any of this stuff performs well, because what it simply shows is that there's a lot of, retail money flowing around the markets. There's a lot of people that are willing to just drive anything in price over, this thing literally took off just because of like one tweet from Elon Musk. And so if this is kind of the whole business proposition of this, which I've looked into it a little bit more, they have some other stuff, but it's mainly just all centered around they made this coin, Elon Musk happened to pump it, and now everybody's just super rich, right? These are the things that are fun to trade in the moment, but when we see these things playing out, we have to understand, hey, this is a point where there's a lot of greed in the market. This is a point where if we're up a lot, it's not a negative idea to take profits, because what we're seeing is something that only repeats, every 4 years towards the end of the cycle. I haven't seen stuff like this all the way since back, in 2017, when we first saw the beginning of 2017, everything took off like crazy. I think that was actually what we saw at the beginning of 2020 when we first broke the all-time highs. And so now we're seeing another wave of it. This is going to be a much bigger wave as far as just pure greed in the market. We're going to see kind of everything rising up together, but seeing trends like this starting out and not getting fully invested into them, not getting emotionally invested into them, just simply willing to play the trend and get out in time, understanding that these are going to crash. But it's little things like this that we can pick up to where we can understand where we're at inside of a market, right? The peak point of maximum financial risk is when the price is up the highest, when we're starting to see stuff like this. If you're just now getting into crypto, you're late to the party. Simply put, like, we've been here for a long time, a lot of us that have been investing. I know I have. I've been here since the last cycle in 2016. So we've been here for a while. If you're just now getting in, you're getting in at the top. So it's not a problem. You can make money in the process, but you got to get out of the market in time. You got to pay higher taxes. It's things that suck, but it's things that you have to do. Otherwise, you're just going to lose all your money and you're going to accumulate a lot of expensive crypto at the top. It's not fun to hold through that, when you're down 80% plus and you got to hold like 2 years or whatever to see the market even get close to where you're at. It's a tough process. It's not fun. And so where we're at right now, understand that we're at the point where we're going to be getting out of the market, seeing the meme coins taking off. I've even been buying some of the meme coins because I think that they're going to do good at the end of the year. Seeing this type of stuff, being somebody that's been through the trends through a long period of time, this is the exact thing that we're going to see at a cycle top. And so I just wanted to keep you guys prepared. Wanted to just talk about what I actually think is going to be playing out long term, what I've seen based off the last cycles. We got one more big push inside of Bitcoin. The total market cap's accumulating just above the previous all-time highs, above the previous resistance of the cup and handle formation. So this is going to be breaking out full strength in that. Other cryptos, Shiba Inu, seeing this type of stuff, understand that I think that this can go a lot higher than it's even at right now. But it's still, a sign that the market's being irrational. We're getting to the point where we're going to want to sell soon. And so we're just kind of tying all of that together with what we see here in the Wall Street cheat sheet. I wanted to keep you guys informed in a number of different ways. This is one of my favorite ways to actually analyze markets. I wanted to make this more of a lesson on exactly what I look for in things, and comparing them to the Wall Street cheat sheet. You can identify these emotions inside of yourself. It can help when you actually go to analyzing the charts, when you can see these sort of emotions play out and you have control over those emotions inside of your trading. You no longer become so attached to the outcomes. You risk small investments, and if you make a good gain, you're taking profits along the way up. You have to be able to kind of sustain yourself, but it's these emotions that really dictate everything inside of a market. If you're profitable, if you're unprofitable, and being able to spot these is very important. So now that we're coming at the end of the market cycle, wanted to share with you guys some thoughts and perspectives I have. We're getting close that we need to sell. Just keep you guys informed on that level. Understand that if you're feeling these sort of emotions, if you bought Shiba Inu, we're getting to the point where we need to sell it, because things like this that are taking off is a big red flag warning sign that there's a lot of greed in the market. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos. If you guys like what you see, you guys want to join the Discord server or download my free ebook, links are going to be provided for you in the description for that. On top of that, if you guys would also like to sign up for my video course Signals and and my beginner course if you guys would like to get into my group, see all of the different trades that I'm taking. Like I said, I opened a TD Ameritrade account, so we're going to be taking a lot of stock picks. We're going to be buying a lot of the things I've been looking at, diversifying crypto profits out of the market so that we can actually get into something else and pay a much greater, return, a compounding return on these assets that are taking off in other sectors. Crypto's not the only thing. We're going to be doing a lot of different stuff. And if you guys want to know exactly what I'm doing with my money, when I'm doing it, I'm going to post about it inside my Discord. So check it out. Links are going to be provided for you in the description. And with all that being said, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.